Richard Hannay, you have got into the wrong ditch, my friend, and you had better climb out. Paddock? That's me home. I'll be heading out for dinner.
Hey, can I speak to you? May I come in for a minute? Is the door locked? I'm very sorry. It's a mighty liberty, but you look like the kind of man who would understand. I've had you in my mind all this week when things got troublesome. Say, will you do me a good turn?
I'll listen to you. That's all I'll promise.
Pardon. I'm a bit rattled tonight. You see, I happen at this moment to be dead.
What does it feel like?
I'm not mad. Yet. Say, sir, I've been watching you, and I reckon you're a cool customer. I reckon, too, you're an honest man and not afraid of playing a bold hand. I'm gonna confide in you. I need help worse than any man ever needed it. I want to know if I can count you in.
Get on with your yarn and I'll tell you.
On the 15th day of June, Constantine Karolides is coming to this city. The British Foreign Office has taken to having international tea parties, and the biggest of them is due on that date. Now, Karolides is reckoned the principal guest, and if my friends have their way, he will never return to his admiring countrymen.
Well, that's simple enough anyhow. You can warn him and keep him at home.
And play their game. If he does not come, they win, for he's the only man that can straighten out the tangle. And if his government are warned, he won't come, for he does not know how big the stakes will be on June the 15th.
What about the British government? They're not going to let their guests be murdered. Tip them the wink, and they'll take extra precautions.
No good. They might stuff your city with plainclothes detectives and double the police, and Constantine would still be a doomed man. He'll be murdered by an Austrian, and there'll be plenty of evidence to show the connivance of the big folk in Vienna and Berlin. It will all be an infernal lie, of course, but the case will look black enough to the world. But it's not going to come off if there's a certain man alive right here in London on the 15th day of June. And that man is going to be your servant, Franklin P. Scudder.
Where did you find out this story?
I completed my evidence 10 days ago in Paris. I can't tell you the details now, for it's something of a history. But when I was quite sure in my own mind, I judged it my business to disappear. And I reached this city by a mighty queer circuit. Till yesterday, I thought I had muddied my trail some, and was feeling pretty happy. Then I saw a man standing in the street outside this block. I used to stay close in my room all day, and only slip out after dark for an hour or two. I watched him for a bit from my window, and I thought I recognized him. He came in and spoke to the porter. When I came back from my walk last night, I found a card in my letterbox. It bore the name of the man I want least to meet on God's earth.
What did you do next?
I realized I was bottled as sure as a pickled herring, and that there was only one way out. I had to die. If my pursuers knew I was dead, they would go to sleep again.
How did you manage it?
I had had you in my mind all day, and there seemed nothing to do but to make an appeal to you. I watched from my window till I saw you come home, and then slip down the stair to meet you. There, sir. I guess you know about as much as me of this business.
Hand me your key, and I'll take a look at the corpse. Excuse my caution, but I'm bound to verify a bit if I can.
I reckoned you'd ask for that. But I haven't got it. It's on my chain on the dressing table. I had to leave it behind, for I couldn't leave any clues to breed suspicions. The gentry who are after me are pretty bright-eyed citizens. You'll have to take me on trust for the night, and tomorrow you'll get the proof of the corpse business right enough.
Right. I'll trust you for the night. I'll lock you into this room and keep the key. Just one word, Mr. Scudder. I believe you're straight. But if so be you are not, I should warn you that I'm a handy man with a gun.
I haven't the privilege of your name, sir, but let me tell you that you're a true gentleman. Now, I'll thank you to lend me a razor.
My hat, Mr. Scudder.
Not Mr. Scudder. Captain Theophilus Digby of the 40th Gurkhas, presently home on leave. I'll thank you to remember that, sir.
Stop that row, Paddock. There's a friend of mine, Captain... he's dossing down in there. Get breakfast for 2, and then come and speak to me.
Nasty business here this morning, sir. Gent in number 15 been and shot himself. They've just took him to the mortuary. The police are up there now.
Say, Hanny,
What is it?
Judge, I should let you a bit deeper into this business. I should hate to go out without leaving somebody else to put up a fight. I reckon it's like going to sleep when you're pretty well tired out. Awaking to find a summer day with the scent of hay coming in at the window. I used to thank God for such mornings way back in the bluegrass country. And I guess I'll thank him when I wake up on the other side of Jordan.
God! Scudder!
Goodbye, old chap. I'm going to do my best for you. Wish me well, wherever you are.
God blimey!
Come in here a moment. I want a word with you.
Yes, sir?
I reckon you're a bit of a sportsman, and I want you to do me a service. Lend me your cap and overall for 10 minutes, and here's a sovereign for you.
What's the game?
A bet. I haven't time to explain, but to win it, I've got to be a milkman for the next 10 minutes, and all you've got to do is to stay here till I come back. You'll be a bit late, but nobody will complain, and you'll have that quid for yourself.
Right. I ain't the man to spoil a bit of sport. Here's the rig, governor.
Ah, it's a sailed job catching trains.
Aye, the impudence of that Geared. He needed a Scotch tongue to put him in his place. He was complaining of this way and no haying a ticket and her no fower till August 12th. And he was objecting to this gentleman spitting.
God.
Oh, quiet, you Where am I? Oh, where am I?
You're on a train, travelling east towards Dumfries, in Scotland.
Oh, that's what comes of being a teetotaler. Oh, aye, but I'm a strong teetotaler. Aye, I took the pledge last Martinmas and I haven't touched a drop of whiskey since then. Not even a Hogmanay, though I was sair tempted. Oh, that's what I get. I heat better than hellfire and twine looking different ways for the Sabbath.
What did it?
Here, a drink they call brandy. Now, being a teetotaler, I keep it half the whiskey, but I was nip not there this brandy, and I doubt I'll no be wheel for a fortnight. Where am I? Oh, where am I? He's jumped. He's jumped to his death.
As when a griffin through the wilderness with winged step. As when a griffin through the wilderness with winged. Good evening to you. It's a fine night for the road.
Is that place an inn?
At your service. I'm the landlord, sir. And I hope you will stay the night, for, to tell you the truth, I've had no company for a week.
You're young to be an innkeeper?
My father died a year ago, and left me the business. I live there with my grandmother. It's a slow job for a young man, and it wasn't my choice, the profession.
Which was?
I want to write books.
And what better chance could you ask? Man, I've often thought that an innkeeper would make the best storyteller in the world.
Oh, not now. Maybe in the old days when you had pilgrims and ballad makers and highwaymen and mail coaches on the road. But not now. Nothing comes here but motor cars full of fat women who stop for lunch and a fisherman or two in the spring and the shooting tenants in August. There's not much material to be got out of that. I want to see life, to travel the world and write things like Kipling and Conrad. But the most I've done yet is to get some verses printed in Chambers' Journal.
I've knocked a bit about the world, and I wouldn't despise such a hermitage. Do you think that adventure is only found in the tropics or among gentry in red shirts? Maybe you're rubbing shoulders with it at this moment.
That's what Kipling says. Brother romance, and all unseen bromance brought up the 915.
Yes. But here's a true tale for you then. And a month from now, you can make a novel out of it. You're looking for adventure? Well, you found it here. The devils are after me, and the police are after them. It's a race that I mean to win.
By God! It's all pure Rider Haggard at Conan Doyle!
You believe me?
Of course I do! I believe everything out of the common. The only thing to distrust is the normal.
I think they're off my track for the moment, but I must lie close for a couple of days. Can you take me in?
There's two chaps below looking for you. They're in the dining room having whiskies and sodas. They asked about you and said they'd hoped to meet you here. Oh, and they described you jolly well, down to your boots and shirt. I told them you'd been here last night and gone off on a motor-bicycle this morning. And one of the chaps swore like a navvy.
Take this down and say it was found in my bedroom and ask them to return it to me if they overtake me. Okay.
Your paper woke them up. The dark fellow went as white as death and cursed like blazes. And the fat one whistled and looked ugly. They paid for their drinks with half a sovereign and wouldn't wait for change.
Now, I'll tell you what I want you to do. Get on your bicycle and go off to Newton Stewart to the chief constable. Describe the two men and say you suspect them of having had something to do with the London murder. You can invent reasons. The two will come back, never fear. Not tonight, for they'll follow me 40 miles along the road, but first thing tomorrow morning. Tell the police to be here bright and early.
Ha!
You may picture me driving that 40 HP car for all she was worth over the crisp moor roads on that shining May morning, glancing back at first over my shoulder and looking anxiously to the next turning, then driving with a vague eye just wide enough awake to keep on the highway, where I was thinking desperately of what I had found in Scudder's pocketbook.
the 15th day of June was going to be a day of destiny, a bigger destiny than the killing of a Dago. It was so big that I didn't blame Scudder for keeping me out of the game and wanting to play a lone hand. That, I was pretty clear, was his intention. The whole story was in the notes, with gaps, you understand, which he would have filled up from his memory. He stuck down his authorities too, and had an odd trick of giving them all a numerical value and then striking a balance, which stood for the reliability of each stage in the yarn. This war was going to come as a mighty surprise to Britain. Carolides' death would set the Balkans by the ears, and then Vienna would chip in with an ultimatum. Russia wouldn't like that, and there would be high words, but Berlin would play the peacemaker and pour oil on the waters, till suddenly she would find a good cause for a quarrel, pick it up, and in 5 hours let fly at us. That was the idea, and a pretty good one too. Despite all the nonsense talked in Parliament, there was a real working alliance between France and Britain, and the two general staffs met every now and then and made plans for joint action in case of war. Well, in June a very great swell was coming over from Paris, and he was going to get nothing less than a statement of the disposition of the British Home Fleet on mobilization. It was something uncommonly important. The bare bones of the tale were all that was in the book. These, and one queer phrase which occurred half a dozen times inside brackets. 39 steps was the phrase. And at its last time of use it ran, 39 steps, I counted them. High tide, 10:17 p.m. I could make nothing of that. It was no question of preventing a war. That was coming, as sure as Christmas. Had been arranged, said Scudder, ever since February 1912. Carolides was going to be the occasion.
I say, bless me, I'm dreadfully sorry. Are you hurt? Really, I must apologise. Oh, bless my soul. Do tell me you're all right.
My blame, sir. It's lucky that I did not add homicide to my follies. Well, that's the end of my Scotch motor tour. But it might have been the end of my life.
You're the right sort of fellow. I can spare a quarter of an hour, and my house is 2 minutes off. I'll see you clothed and fed and snug in bed. Where's your kit, by the way? Is it in the burn along with the car?
It's in my pocket.
A toothbrush?
I'm a colonial and travel light.
A colonial? By gad, you're the very man I've been praying for. Are you by any blessed chance a free trader?
A free trader? I am.
Oh, good show!
Thank you.
You find me in a deuce of a mess, Mr... Oh, by the by, you haven't told me your name.
Twisden.
Twisden? Any relation to old Tommy Twisden of the 60th? No? Oh, well. Well, you see, I'm the Liberal candidate for this part of the world, and I had a meeting on tonight at Brattleburn, and that's my chief town, in an infernal Tory stronghold. I'd got the colonial ex-premier fellow, Crumpleton, coming to speak for me tonight, and had the thing tremendously billed, and the whole place ground-baited. This afternoon, I had a wire from the ruffian saying he'd got influenza at Blackpool, and here I am, left to do the whole thing myself. I had meant to speak for 10 minutes, and now must go on for 40. And though I've been racking my brains for 3 hours to think of something, I simply cannot last the course. Now, you've got to be a good chap and help me. You're a free trader and can tell our people what a washout protection is in the colonies. All you fellows have the gift of the gab. I wish to heaven I had it. I'll be forevermore in your debt.
All right. I'm not much good as a speaker, but I'll tell them a bit about Australia.
Oh.
I'd like to propose a vote of thanks to Sir Harry for his statesmanlike speech, and to Mr. Twisden, whose words had the eloquence of an emigration agent.
A ripping speech, Twisden. Now, you're coming home with me. I'm all alone, and if you'll stop a day or two, I'll show you some very decent fishing.
Listen, Sir Harry. I've something pretty important to say to you. You're a good fellow, and I'm going to be frank. Where on earth did you get that poisonous rubbish you talked tonight?
Oh, was it as bad as that? It did sound rather thin. I got most of it out of the Progressive magazine, and pamphlets that agent chap of mine keeps sending me. But you surely don't think Germany would ever go to war with us?
Ask that question in 6 weeks, and it won't need an answer. If you'll give me your attention for half an hour, I'm going to tell you a story. So you see, you've got here in your house the man that is wanted for the Portland Place murder. Your duty is to send your car for the police and give me up. I don't think I'll get very far. There'll be an accident, and I'll have a knife in my ribs an hour or so after arrest. Nevertheless, it's your duty as a law-abiding citizen. Perhaps in a month's time you'll be sorry, but you have no cause to think of that.
What was your job in Rhodesia, Mr. Hannay?
Mining engineer. I've made my pile cleanly, and I've had a good time in the making of it.
Not the profession that weakens the nerves, is it?
As to that, my nerves are good enough.
I don't want proof. I may be an ass on the platform, but I can size up a man. You're no murderer, and you're no fool. I believe you're speaking the truth. I'm going to back you up. Now, what can I do?
First, I want you to write a letter to your uncle. I've got to get in touch with the government people sometime before the 15th of June.
That won't help you. This is Foreign Office business, and my uncle would have nothing to do with it. Besides, you'd never convince him. No. I'll go one better. I'll write to the Permanent Secretary of the Foreign Office. He's my godfather and one of the best going. Now, what do you want? Good. That's the proper style. Oh, by the way, you'll find my godfather, his name's Sir Walter Bullivant, down at his country cottage for Whitsuntide. It's close to Artonswell on the Kennet. And that's done. Now, what's the next thing?
You're about my height. Lend me the oldest tweed suit you've got. Anything will do, so long as the color is the opposite of the clothes I destroyed this afternoon. Then, show me a map of the neighborhood and explain to me the lie of the land. Lastly, if the police come seeking me, just show them the car in the glen. If the other lot turn up, tell them I caught the South Express after your meeting.
First, turn to the right, up by the long fir wood. By daybreak, you'll be well into the hills. Then, I should pitch the machine into a bog and take to the moors on foot. You can put in a week among the shepherds and be as safe as if you were in New Guinea.
Thank you.
Think nothing of it. You got me out of a tight spot last night. Now, you better get cracking. Good luck.
Good day to you.
Confound the day I ever left the herding. There I was, my own master. Now I'm a slave to the government, tethered to the roadside with sair een in a back like a suckle. Oh, mercy on me, my head's bursting. I can't do it. The surveyor man just report me, I'm for my bed.
What is your trouble, may I ask?
The trouble is that I'm no sober. Last night my daughter Maren was wadded, and the dance still fower on the byre. Me and some other chiels sat down to the drinking, and here I am. Pity that I ever looked on the wine when it was red.
Sleep sounds like your best bet.
It's easy speaking. But I got a postcard yestreen saying that the new road surveyor would be round the day. He'll come and he'll no find me, or else he'll find me foo, and either way I'm a done man. I'll walk back to my bed and say I'm no wheel, but I doubt that'll no help me, for they ken my kind of no wheelness.
Where's your house? Well, back to your bed and sleep in peace. I'll take on your job for a bit and see the surveyor.
Eh? Hey, you're the Billy. It'll be easy enough managed. I've finished that bingo stains, so you needn't chop any more for noon. Just take the barry and wheel enough metal for your own quarry down the road to make another bing the morn. My name's Alexander Turnbull, and I've been 7 year at the trade and 20 afore that herding in Leith and Water. My friends call me Eki, and Wales Specky, for I wear glasses in wake of the sight. Just you speak the surveyor fair and calm, sir, and he'll be well pleased. I'll be back, midday.
Are you Alexander Turnbull? I am the new County Road Surveyor. You live at Black Hopefoot and have charge of the section from Laidlaw Byres to the Riggs. Good. A fair bit of road, Turnbull, and not badly engineered. A little soft about a mile off and the edges want cleaning. See you look after that. Good morning. You'll know me the next time you see me.
Morning! That's a fine, easy job of yours.
There's worse jobs, and there's better. I would rather have yours, sitting all day on your hinterlands in 8 cushions. It's you and your muckle cars that wreck my roads. If we all had our richts, you should be made to mend what you break.
I see you get your papers in good time.
Aye, in good time. Seeing that paper come out last Saturday, I'm just 6 days late.
You've a fine taste in boots. These were never made by a country shoemaker.
They were not. They were made in London. I got they through the gentleman that was here last year for the shooting. What was his name now?
Let us get on. This fellow is all right. Let us get on. This fellow is all right.
Did you see anyone pass early this morning? He might be on a bicycle or he might be on foot.
Wasn't up very early. You see, my daughter was married last night, and we keeping it up late. I opened the house door about 7, and there was nobody on the road then. Since I come up here, there has just been the baker and the Rackhill herd, besides you gentlemen.
Excuse me, may I trouble you for a light?
Hello, Jopley. Well met, my lad.
Who the devil are you?
My name's Hanny, from Rhodesia, you remember?
Good God, the murderer!
Just so. And there'll be a second murder, my dear, if you don't do as I tell you. Give me that coat of yours, that cap too. Now, my child, sit quite still and be a good boy. I mean you no harm. I'm only borrowing your car for an hour or two. But if you play me any tricks, and above all, if you open your mouth, as sure as there's a God above me, I'll wring your neck. Savvy?
Just don't hurt me.
1,000 thanks. There's more use in you than I thought. Now be off and find the police.
I'll get you!
You seem in a hurry, my friend. see. A fugitive from justice, eh? Well, we'll go into the matter at our leisure. Meantime, I object to my privacy being broken in upon by the clumsy rural policeman. Go into my study and you will see 2 doors facing you. Take the one on the left and close it behind you. You will be perfectly safe.
Gone?
They have gone. I convinced them that you'd cross the hill. I do not choose that the police should come between me and one whom I am delighted to honor. This is a lucky morning for you, Mr. Richard Hannay.
I don't know what you mean. And who are you calling Richard Hannay? My name's Ainsley.
So, but of course you have others. We won't quarrel about a name.
I suppose you're going to give me up after all, and I call it a damn dirty trick. My God, I wish I'd never seen that cursed motor car. Here's the money and be damned to you.
Oh no, I shall not give you up. My friends and I will have a little private settlement with you. That is all. You know a little too much, Mr. Hannay. You're a clever actor, but not quite clever enough.
For God's sake, stop jawing. Everything is against me. I haven't had a bit of luck since I came on shore at Leith. What's the harm in a poor devil with an empty stomach picking up some money he finds in a bust-up motor car? That's all I've done, and for that I've been chivied for 2 days by those blasted bobbies over those blasted hills. Oh, I tell you, I'm fair sick of it. You know what you like, old boy? Ned Ainsley's got no fight left in him.
Will you oblige me with the story of your recent doings?
I can't, Governor. I've not had a bite to eat for 2 days. Give me a mouthful of food, and then you'll hear God's truth.
I can have the money back for a fat lot of good it's done me. Those perishers are all down on a poor man. Now, if it had been you, Governor, that had found the quids, nobody would have troubled you.
You're a good liar, Hanny.
Stop fooling, damn you. I tell you, my name's Ainsley, and I've never heard of anyone called Annie in my born days. I'd sooner have the police than you with your Hannays and your monkey-faced pistol tricks. No, Governor, I beg pardon. I don't mean that. I'm much obliged to you for the grub, and I'll thank you to let me go now the coast's clear.
I do not propose to let you go. If you are what you say you are, you will soon have a chance of clearing yourself. If you are what I believe you are, I do not think you will see the light much longer. I want the Lanchester in 5 minutes. There will be 3 to luncheon.
You'll know me next time, Governor.
Karl, stecke diesen in den Lagerraum. Und bis ich zurückkomme, bist du mir für ihn verantwortlich.
What in the name of... What's happened to you?
Forgive me. I've taken a pretty bad fall.
Come in. Come in.
Please, take this as payment for your hospitality.
No. Keep your siller. No. Give it to them that hae richt it. Oh, richt then, if you insist. Tak my plaid and... this old hat that belonged to my man.
Where are ye that come stravaiging here in the Sabbath morning? Ah. Aye, have you got my specs? You'll have come for your jacket and waistcoat. Come on, boy. Losh, man, you're terrible down to the legs. Hold up till I get you to a chair. Here's your belt. There's a terrible heap of siller in it. You better count it to see it's a there.
Thank you, but I'm sure there's no need. By the way, could you tell me, has anyone been inquiring after me?
Aye, there was a man in a motor car. He speered what I'd ta'en my place that day, and I let on I thought him daft. But he keep it on at me, and syne I said he mun be thinking of my good brother frae the cliff that whiles leaned me a horn. He was a worse-looking soul, and I couldn't understand the half of his English tongue.
Clear, isn't it? I back our Kennet any day against the test. Look at that big fellow. 4 pounds if it's an ounce. But the evening rise is over and you can't tempt him.
I don't see him.
Look, there. A yard from the reeds, just above that stickle.
Ah, I've got him now. You might swear he was a black stone.
So. Twisden's the name, isn't it?
No. I mean to say, yes.
It's a wise conspirator that knows his own name.
call it disgraceful. Disgraceful that an able-bodied man like you should dare to beg. You can get a meal from my kitchen, but you'll get no money from me.
Evening, Sir Walter.
That's my house. Wait 5 minutes and then go round to the back door.
Come this way, sir. Sir Walter thought as how Mr. Reggie's things would fit you, sir. He keeps some clothes here, for he comes regular on the weekends. There's a bathroom next door, and I've prepared hot bath. Dinner in half an hour, sir. You'll hear the gong.
I'm more obliged to you than I can say, but I'm bound to make things clear. I'm an innocent man, but I'm wanted by the police. I've got to tell you this, and I won't be surprised if you kick me out.
That's all right. Don't let that interfere with your appetite. We can talk about these things after dinner. I've obeyed Harry's instructions, and the bribe he offered me was that you would tell me something to wake me up. I'm ready, Mr. Hannay. You may dismiss the police from your mind. You're in no danger from the law of this land.
Great Scott. Have they got the murderer?
No. But for the last fortnight, they've dropped you from the list of possibles.
Why?
Principally because I received a letter from Scudder. I knew something of the man, and he did several jobs for me. He was half crank, half genius, but he was wholly honest. Trouble about him was his partiality for playing a lone hand. That made him pretty well useless in any secret service. A pity, for he had uncommon gifts. I think he was the bravest man in the world, for he was always shivering with fright, and yet nothing would choke him off. I had a letter from him on the 31st of May.
But he had been dead a week by then.
The letter was written and posted on the 23rd. He evidently did not anticipate an immediate decease. His communications usually took a week to reach me, for they were sent undercover to Spain and then to Newcastle. He had a mania, you know, for concealing his tracks. I think his object was to clear you if anything happened. But when I got it, I went to Scotland Yard, went over the details of the inquest, and concluded that you were the friend. We made inquiries about you, Mr. Hannay, and found you were respectable. I thought I knew the motives for your disappearance, not only the police, the other one, too. And when I got Harry's scrawl, I guessed at the rest. I've been expecting you any time this past week.
Thank heavens.
Now, let us have the little notebook. I don't know what to make of it. He's right about one thing. What is going to happen the day after tomorrow? How the devil can it have got known? That is ugly enough in itself. But all this about war and the Black Stone, it reads like some wild melodrama. If only I had more confidence in Scudder's judgment. Trouble about him was that he was too romantic. He had the artistic temperament and wanted a story to be better than God meant it to be. He had a lot of odd biases, too. Jews, for example, made him see red. Jews and the high finance. The Black Stone. Der Schwarze Stein. Yeah, it's like a penny novelette. And all this stuff about Karolides. That is the weak part of the tale, for I happen to know that the virtuous Karolides is likely to outlast us both. There's no state in Europe that wants him gone. Besides, he's just been playing up to Berlin and Vienna and giving my chief some uneasy moments. No. Scudder's gone off the track there. Frankly, Hannay, I don't believe that part of his story. There's some nasty business afoot, and he found out too much and lost his life over it. But I'm ready to take my oath that it's ordinary spy work. A certain great European power makes a hobby of her spy system, and her methods are not too particular. Since she pays by piecework, her blackguards are not likely to stick at a murder or two. They want our naval dispositions for their collection at the Marienamt. But they'll be pigeonholed, nothing more.
There's a trunk call from London, Sir Walter. It's Mr. Heath, and he wants to speak to you personally.
I apologize to the shade of Scudder. Karolides was shot dead this evening at a few minutes after 7. busy hour on the telephone after you went to bed. I got my chief to speak to the First Lord and the Secretary for War, and they're bringing Roy over a day sooner. Now, this wire clinches it. He'll be in London at 5. Odd that the code word for a sous chef d'etat major general should be porker. Not that I think it'll do much good. If your friends were clever enough to find out the first arrangement, they're clever enough to discover the change. I would give my head to know where the leak is. We believed there were only 5 men in England who knew about Royer's visit, and you may be certain there were fewer in France, for they manage these things better there. That is the best we can do, and it's hard to see how there can be any miscarriage. But I don't mind admitting that I'm horribly nervous. This murder of Karolides will play the deuce in the chancelleries of Europe. Hannay, can you drive a car?
Why, yes.
Well, you'll be my chauffeur today and wear Hudson's rig. You're about his size. You have a hand in this business and we're taking no risks. There are desperate men against us who will not respect the country retreat of an overworked official. McGillivray, I've brought you the Portland Place murderer.
It would have been a welcome present to Bullivant. This, I presume, is Mr. Richard Hannay, who for some days greatly interested my department.
Mr. Hannay will interest it again. He has much to tell you, but not today. For certain grave reasons, his tale must wait for 4 hours. Then, I can promise you, you will be entertained and possibly edified. I want you to assure Mr. Hannay that he will suffer no further inconvenience.
You can take up your life where you left off. Your flat, which probably you no longer wish to occupy, is waiting for you, and your man is still there. As you were never publicly accused, we considered that there was no need of a public exculpation. But on that, of course, you must please yourself.
McGillivray, we may want your assistance later on. Come and see me tomorrow, Hannay. I needn't tell you to keep deadly quiet. If I were you, I would go to bed, for you must have considerable arrears of sleep to overtake. You'd better lie low.
For if one of your black stone friends saw you, there might be trouble.
Of course.
By God, the murderer! Here, you fellows hold him! That's Hannay, the man who did the Portland Place murder! Take him, quick!
What's going on here?
Oh, this man is the Portland Place murderer!
Damn it all! Make the fellow shut up! I advise you to leave me alone, Constable. Scotland Yard knows all about me, and you'll get a proper wigging if you interfere.
You've got to come along with me, young man. I saw you strike that gentleman cruel hard. You began it too, for he wasn't doing nothing. I've seen you. You best go quietly, or I'll have to fix you up. Watch him! Watch him! Watch him! Right, come back here!
I must see Sir Walter. My business is desperately important.
Sir Walter is engaged, sir, and I have orders to admit no one. Perhaps you will wait.
See here. There's trouble about, and I'm in it. But Sir Walter knows, and I'm working for him. If anyone comes and asks if I'm here, tell him a lie.
This is the house of Sir Walter Bullivant, and I am under the strictest orders not to let anyone, no matter who, interrupt his office.
Alloa's residence. How may I help you?
Is his lordship at home?
His lordship returned half an hour ago and has gone to bed. He's not very well tonight. Will you leave him a message, sir?
I knew it.
And I feel reassured.
Sir Walter!
Gentlemen!
This is Mr. Hannay, of whom I have spoken to you. I'm afraid, Hannay, this visit is ill-timed.
That remains to be seen, sir. But I think it may be in the nick of time. For God's sake, gentlemen, tell me who went out a minute ago.
Lord Alloa.
It was not.
That's very strong.
It was his living image, but it was not Lord Alloa. It was someone who recognized me, someone I have seen in the last month. He had scarcely left the doorstep when I rang up Lord Alloa's house and was told he had come in half an hour before and had gone to bed.
Who?
The Black Stone.
Nonsense.
I have spoken to Alloa. Had him out of bed, very grumpy. He went straight home after Malross's dinner.
But it's madness. Do you mean to tell me that that man came here and sat beside me for the best part of half an hour and that I didn't detect the imposture? Alloa must be out of his mind.
Don't you see the cleverness of it? You were too interested in other things to have any eyes. You took Lord Alloa for granted. If it had been anybody else, you might have looked more closely, but it was natural for him to be here, and that put you all to sleep.
The young man is right. His psychology is good. Our enemies have not been foolish. I will tell you a tale. It happened many years ago in Senegal.
What happened?
I stuffed my fishing rod into his jaws, and I had a pistol. Also, my servants came presently with rifles. But he left his mark on me. Consider. The mayor had been dead more than an hour, and the brute had been patiently watching me ever since. I never saw the kill, for I was accustomed to the mayor's fretting, and I never marked her absence, for my consciousness of her was only of something tawny, and the lion filled that part. If I could blunder thus, gentlemen, in a land where men's senses are keen, why should we busy, preoccupied urban folk not err also?
Well, I suppose there is nothing for it but to change the plans.
Did you tell Lord Alloa what has happened? No? Well, I can't speak with absolute assurance, but I'm nearly certain we can't make any serious change, unless we alter the geography of England.
God, and we have not a rag of a clue.
Besides, there is the post. By this time, the news will be on its way.
No. You do not understand the habits of the spy. He receives personally his reward, and he delivers personally his intelligence. We in France know something of the breed. Now, there is still a chance, mes amis. These men must cross the sea, and there are ships to be searched and ports to be watched. Believe me, the need is desperate for both France and Britain.
Where is Scudder's book? Quick, man! I remember something in it.
What is it going to be?
Ha!
39 steps. 39 steps. I counted them. High tide, 10:17 p.m.
What relevance is all?
Don't you see? It's a clue. Scudder knew where these fellows laired. He knew where they were going to leave the country, though he kept the name to himself. Tomorrow was the day, and it was some place where high tide was at 10:17.
But they may have gone tonight.
Not they. They have their own snug, secret way, and they won't be hurried. I know Germans, and they are mad about working to a plan. Where the devil can I get a book of tide tables?
It's a chance. Let's go over to the Admiralty.
Here's the most I can make of it. We have got to find a place where there are several staircases down to the beach, one of which has 39 steps. I think it's a piece of open coast with biggish cliffs somewhere between the wash and the channel. Also, it's a place where full tide is at 10:17 tomorrow night. Is there no inspector of Coast Guards or some fellow like that knows the East Coast?
Why, yes, there is. He lives in Clapham. Let me get him now. This is the chap.
Good evening, gentlemen.
We want you to tell us the places you know on the East Coast where there are cliffs and where several sets of steps run down to the beach.
What kind of steps do you mean, sir? There are plenty of places with roads cut down through the cliffs, and most roads have a step or two in them. Or do you mean regular staircases, all steps, so to speak?
We mean regular staircases.
I don't know that I can think of any. Wait a second. There's a place in Norfolk, Brattlesham, beside a golf course, where there are a couple of staircases to let the gentleman get a lost ball.
That's not it.
Then there are plenty of marine parades, if that's what you mean. Every seaside resort has them.
It's got to be more retired than that.
Well, gentlemen, I can't think of anywhere else. Of course, there's the Rough.
What's that?
The big chalk headland in Kent, close to Bradgate. It's got a lot of villas on the top, and some of the houses have staircases down to a private beach. It's a very high-toned sort of place, and the residents there like to keep by themselves.
We're on the scent at last. How can I find out what is the tide at the Rough?
I can tell you that, sir. I once was let a house there in this very month, and I used to go out at night to the deep sea fishing. The tide's 10 minutes before Bradgate.
If one of those staircases has 39 steps, we have solved the mystery, gentlemen. I want the loan of your car, Sir Walter, and a map of the roads.
Of course.
If Mr. McGillivray will spare me 10 minutes, yes, I think we can prepare something for tomorrow.
Good. I, for one, am content to leave the matter in Mr. Hannay's hands.
34, 35, 42, 47, and 21, where the cliffs get lower. Oh, and 39.
Scaife, we have them.
You all right there, Percy?
Yes, you're looking a little hot under the collar.
I've got into a proper lather. This'll bring down my weight and my handicap, Bob. I'll take you on tomorrow and give you a stroke a hole.
Is, Mr. Appleton at home?
Yes, sir. Please, come in. Who may I say is calling?
Richard Hannay.
If you could wait in the smoking room, I'll let Mr. Appleton know you're here.
Mr. Hannay? Did you wish to see me?
I think we have met before, and I guess you know my business.
Maybe. Maybe. I haven't a very good memory, but I'm afraid you must tell me your errand, sir, for I really don't know it.
Well then, I have come to tell you that the game's up. I have a warrant for the arrest of you three gentlemen.
Arrest? Arrest? Good God, what for?
For the murder of Franklin Scudder in London on the 23rd day of last month.
I never heard the name before.
That was the Portland Place murder. I read about it. Good heavens. You must be mad, sir. Where do you come from?
Scotland Yard.
Don't get flustered, Uncle. It's all a ridiculous mistake. But these things happen sometimes, and we can easily set it right. It won't be hard to prove our innocence. I can show you that I was out the country on the 23rd of May, and Bob was in a nursing home. You were in London, but you can explain what you were doing.
Right, Percy. Of course, that's easy enough. The 23rd. That was the day after Agatha's wedding. Let me see, what was I doing? Came up in the morning from Woking and lunched at the club with Charlie Simons. Then, oh yes, I dined with the fishmongers. I remember, for the punch didn't agree with me and I was seedy next morning. Hang it all, there's the cigar box I brought back from the dinner.
I think, sir, you will see you are mistaken. We want to assist the law like all Englishmen, and we don't want Scotland Yard to be making fools of themselves. That so, Uncle?
Certainly, Bob. Certainly. We'll do anything in our power to assist the authorities, but this is a bit too much. I can't get over it.
How Nellie will chuckle. She always said you would die of boredom because nothing ever happened to you. Now you've got it thick and strong.
By Joe, yes, just think of it. What a story to tell at the club. Really, Mr. Hannay, I suppose I should be angry to show my innocence, but it's too funny. I almost forgive you the fright you gave me. You looked so glum. I thought I might have been walking in my sleep and killing people. Well, are you reassured by your scrutiny, sir? I hope you'll find it consistent with your duty to drop this ridiculous business. I make no complaint, but you'll see how annoying it must be to respectable people.
Oh, Lord. This is a bit too thick.
Do you propose to march us off to the police station? That might be the best way out of it, but I suppose you won't be content with the local branch. I have the right to ask to see your warrant, but I don't wish to cast any aspersions upon you. You're only doing your duty. But you'll admit, it's horribly awkward. What do you propose to do? Meantime, I vote we have a game of bridge. It'll give Mr. Hannay time to think over things. And you know we've been wanting a fourth player. Do you play, sir?
Yes. Yes, I play.
Bob, look at the time. You better think about catching your train. Bob's got to go to town tonight.
I'm afraid he must put off his journey.
Oh, damn. I thought you'd drop that rot. I simply got to go. You can have my address, and I'll give you any security you like.
No, you must stay.
I'll go bail for my nephew. That ought to content you, Mr. Hannay.
Get your hands off me! Schnell, Franz! Das Boot! Das Boot!
He is safe. You cannot follow in time. He's gone. He has triumphed. Der schwarze Stein ist in der Siegeskrone.
I hope Franz will bear his triumph well. I ought to tell you that the Ariadne for the last hour has been in our hands.
Company! Dismiss!
3 weeks later, as all the world knows, we went to war. I joined the new army the first week and, owing to my Matabele experience, got a captain's commission straight off. But I had done my best service, I think, before I put on khaki.